Hi, my name's Stephen, and today's Bible readings come from Luke chapter 13 and 14. But I would like us to focus on verses 22 to 30, looking at Jesus' teaching on the fact that he is the narrow door to salvation. Jesus here is teaching on the back of a question that he's being asked. It's often the way he gets into various topics, taking the question from someone, either a disciple, sometimes one of his opponents, or maybe just someone from the crowd. In this case, it doesn't actually say who the question comes from. I assume it's from someone in one of the towns and villages that he's passing through as he's journeying towards Jerusalem, but taking that question and using it as a jumping off point to do some teaching. So what's the question he's being asked? Well, the question is, Lord, will those who are saved be few? Don't know what the motivation behind this question is, but maybe this person looking at thinking, how does this salvation thing work? Is this most people are going to be saved? Is it few people are going to be saved? Are there a particular select? Are there some people who are important to Jesus that are going to make it through? And maybe that's a question you thought about. Who is going to make it into God's eternal family, this God of love? Is he going to take everyone? Is he going to take few? And there's definitely answers to be found in the scriptures about that. And certainly as we look around the world today and look back through history, we can see that millions, actually billions of people have professed to know Christ and follow him and given their lives to him with a hope that they will be saved and spend an eternity with him. But Jesus would seem to say to this person and to us as well that that is not the most important question, or maybe not the primary question that we need to look at, because he answers by saying this: strive to enter through the narrow door. For many, I tell you, will seek to enter and will not be able. He's saying to you, saying to me, that our primary concern should be our own salvation. Do we know our own standing with God? Do we know where we would go if we were to die today? Do we know what would happen if Jesus came back today? Would he welcome us in to his family, to his eternal rest, and that place of just paradise and goodness and being with him forever? Do we know that? Or are we under threat of knowing eternal death, knowing what it is to mean eternal torment, which says weeping and gnashing of teeth later in the verses of what we call hell? And often we talk about Jesus and his goodness and his good teaching, but Jesus' teaching is often hard. And teaching around hell is definitely one of the harder things to talk about, something we maybe don't talk about that often. But Jesus is very real about that. He's saying you need to strive to be saved because the alternative is pretty terrifying. And you need to be with him. But the good news is there is a way. There is this doorway, narrow as it may be, to salvation with him. And he's welcoming, encouraging people through it. He's saying a time will come when that shuts. And so therefore we need to have some sense of urgency about it, because we do not know the number of days that we will live on this earth. And even the ones we have are short. And so we need to be urgent around this issue and not put it off, but look at it very seriously. But know with great hope that a way to Jesus is open. In fact, he is the way, the truth and the life, the way to the Father, a way to eternity, a way to salvation. And we need to grab hold of that with both hands and look at that seriously. Partly because Jesus goes on to say that some think that they have salvation, but they don't. Maybe people who are religious, maybe people who've grown up in church, or maybe people who think they're basically moral, basically good. And Jesus would say, that's not enough. It has to be salvation found in him and him alone. And but the great thing is it's a simple thing. It may seem very exclusive, may seem very narrow to the world, those looking in thinking, well, it's, you're shutting out all other ways to God, all other ways to salvation, all other ways to eternal peace. And we say, yes, we are. Jesus is the only way. He is exclusive in that sense. But he's also the great inclusive God who says that all can come to know him, that there's no holding back because of your particular background or your particular upbringing, whether that's religious or maybe your racial upbringing. There's no divides there. Doesn't matter whether you're young, doesn't matter whether you're old, doesn't matter whether you're rich or poor, doesn't matter about your academic achievement, whether high or low, doesn't matter about your status in society. No, all can come. Simply confessing that Jesus lived and died, that he is Lord and worthy of you following him with all your life. Simply giving over to him means that you can receive that salvation. Have you received that today? If not, let me encourage you. Go to Jesus today. Confess your sin and confess your need of him and come into a saving relationship with him. For me, I've done that. In fact, this month, last month, right in March, I've been a Christian 35 years. That's how long I've known Jesus. And so when I look at this, I'm thinking, well, I still want to strive to be knit in with Jesus, make sure he is my hope alone. But also, I want to strive that others might enter that narrow door. Feeling more and more stirred as the years go by, that I want to see many others ushered in through. And knowing that that door will shut and there is an urgency around that, we must pray and we must seek opportunities to tell others the good news of Jesus, that he wants to welcome them through the narrow door into this spacious place of salvation. I would ask you, why don't you join me in praying and seeking opportunities today for that as well? God bless you. Speak soon.